Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday, 5th of June. Welcome to PatFacts. Patrick here, pat on your back, personal fitness. Hope everybody's having a great week, surviving the heat. It's a little warm here in the 30s last couple of days in Ontario. So make sure, either way, you're hydrating, drinking that water, getting those fluids in you, but especially in this heat and humidity, we're going to lose the fluid. We got to put it back in us. So before, during, after workouts, throughout the day, again, find the system that works best for you. I've recently discovered these insulated shaker cups from Supplement King that keep your colds cold and your hots hot. So it's been great to have at work. Throw in my locker in the morning. It stays cold all day, so I can get a cool drink when I need to. So again, find what the systems that work for you. Be sure to stay hydrated on these cool days. And we'll talk a little bit more about some tips for exercising and being active in the heat in a future episode, I guess pretty soon, since it's so warm and humid now. Tonight, though, what we're going to talk about today is National Restart Day. So I thought it'd be good to chat about that because sometimes a restart is needed. And the important point is to not maybe judge yourself or get down on yourself if you do take a reset or a restart. Again, sometimes they're needed. Depends on the situation. There's different levels of this too. Maybe you just need a restart on your evening, your afternoon. Maybe this could be a bit of a restart for you to maybe forget about the day that was, maybe refresh a little bit, heading into the evening so you can get into your maybe evening work or a little relaxation time, some next day prep, your bedtime routine, get a good night's sleep to make the most of the day. Maybe you need to kind of restart the whole day. Maybe it was just a bit of a wash, bit of a gong show, bit of a mess. You need some time to yourself to restart it. Maybe it's your week. Maybe it's your month. Maybe it's your goals. Maybe it's some of the small goals that you have in place on your way towards your big goal. Or maybe it's the big goal itself. Maybe you've realized partway through now, as we get into month 6, we're about halfway through the year, getting close to, maybe you're realizing that your goal maybe was maybe not quite specific enough. Maybe it wasn't quite attainable. Maybe it wasn't a little realistic. Maybe you didn't deep dive quite enough in setting it. You need to recalibrate and restart. And that's okay. All these things are okay when they're needed. The kind of caveat to that, or the thing I'd like to recommend, is don't make any rash decisions. It took me 10 minutes to think of that word earlier. I was trying before we came on to remember that word and I couldn't think of it. Don't be too rash about it. Be calculated. Think carefully about what you're doing and take a look, review, revisit. Again, we recommend as much as we can keeping notes, journals, using apps, whatever you prefer to track your progress towards your goals, so that when maybe times like this come up and things don't seem to be quite going the way you planned, why? Let's look, let's revisit. Maybe we started off good, we hit some bumps, we hit some obstacles, we hit some roadblocks. What happened? What went wrong? What derailed us? What's trying to derail us? How can we work through that, work around that, go over that? Sometimes for a lot of us, when obstacles occur or difficulties show up, we abandon ship. That's it. I'm overboard. Didn't work again. Why do I bother? And then we just go on with the way things kind of always were. But really, when these roadblocks and these hurdles come up, it's a chance to try to learn from it and try to figure something out, maybe about ourselves or about the situation we're in, to work through this obstacle and hopefully minimize the chance that it comes back again. Or if it does come back, it doesn't impact us as much because we're ready for it. We've learned from it. We've experienced it or something similar to it. So too often I see with clients where they pull the plug, they restart. That's it. This program isn't working. I tried these exercises. I just can't do this move. It's too hard. I'm going back to what I was doing. Going back to what you were doing is going to get you where you already are. You want it to progress and get stronger or do better or lose some inches or be able to run a 5K, whatever the goal is. It's above and beyond what you're used to. We have to expand our comfort zone. We have to hang out, like I like to say, at the edge of that comfort zone. And the more time we spend at the edge where it's just kind of uncomfortable, that becomes comfortable. That comfort zone expands, and we can go a little further. So again, knowing when to restart is important, and making sure that you put in the thought and the review and the carefulness into that decision. Because maybe you don't need to restart. Maybe you need to retweak. Maybe you need to adjust. Maybe you need to reroute, as we like to use our roadmap or our GPS analogy here a lot, of our goal being the destination and our steps being the course. Maybe you just need to reroute a little bit. Maybe this route isn't the best way to get there. Maybe you need to take the scenic route. Maybe there's a shortcut over here when you take this reroute. All these things can maybe keep you building your momentum toward that goal without going back to start and restarting again and going back and taking that alternate route that maybe was there or maybe you didn't know about, but now you've gone all the way back. Whereas if we can reroute and retweak, maybe from here, again, we save the progress we've already made and those experiences we have and that momentum that we have, and we can carry that on forward. So even if it is a restart, we'll do our best to use what we've done so far and hopefully restart from where you are, and not go back to the start block. Like, sorry, when you get swiped out, you have to go back to the home position and start again. We want to restart from where we are. Maybe we skip a turn in that game kind of analogy. We have to miss a turn to figure things out and to recalibrate, and that's okay. And then, okay, now it's my turn. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to draw that card, and I'm going to restart my journey toward that safe zone, that prize of winning the game. But again, with a lot of clients, I see either they pull the chute too soon and they just give up and restart, or they get down on themselves because they had to restart. And again, ideally, we restart from where we are. If we have to go all the way back and restart, that's the way it is. Again, we still got 6 months to work towards that goal that we set back in October. It's a 2024 goal. So you still have time. That's why we give ourselves all this year plus. That's why we started in October of the previous year. So that gives us that buffer, that time. So just in case things come up, roadblocks, obstacles, life events that we didn't plan and prepare for. Because even if you've been with us, we've been trying to do that as much as we can. Prepare for those so that when they come up, again, they minimize the impact they have on us. They maybe slow us down, but they don't stop us. But there's going to be things that come up. So it's important to, again, be mindful in your decision if it is there to restart, and if you feel that's the best decision. And again, maybe you should talk it over with your coach, with your accountability partners, with your loved ones, whoever maybe you've shared this goal with. Maybe it's a great idea to sit with them and identify your struggles and talk about things. And again, maybe someone like a coach like myself could look at this from more of a neutral stance and maybe see where things got derailed a little bit. You know what? You were going great till just right here. And then we made this change and this sort of took you off course. Is there a way we can undo that change or modify, or how can we adjust to that change to get you back on course? Sometimes it's hard to see that when you're in it yourself all the time. Good evening, Bonnie. Welcome in. Good to see you. But if we do decide, and we've done all the steps and we think, yep, a restart is necessary, be very mindful to not get down on yourself for that restart. Restarts happen. If you think of a sports team, I've got my Oilers hat down there behind me. Go Oilers! But thinking of that sports analogy, your favorite sports team isn't always in the finals. There's rebuilds and restarts, and sometimes they'll get a bunch of people. This is our rebuild, and they'll get a couple years into it. And that's not working. Let's get rid of these players and a coach and bring more players in, and let's restart the rebuild. Sometimes that's part of the process. We restart, we reconfigure a little bit, and then we continue on. So again, that's part of it. That's part of life. Don't beat yourself up about it. As long as you're calculated with the decision and you have plans in place, there's no reason to be down on yourself. Again, it's part of life. So be mindful of that as well. A lot of people, when they restart, that negative self-talk comes in. Here I go again. I couldn't make it. I only got 6 months in. I couldn't get to that 12-month goal. and then the negativity starts in, and then you're building negative momentum. You're kind of pushing yourself further backwards, and then you have a bigger hill to climb to get back going on that route towards your goal. So accept it. Again, maybe there's a bit of a grieving process. That's fine. Take that time, build that into your plan now if you're planning to restart something. But build that morning, that grieving process in, and then have a time to come out of it to restart. Pick a restart date. Maybe it's not today, but maybe today you've decided, okay, it's Wednesday, June 5th, as we record this. You know what? Things aren't working. I've gone through it. I've looked over everything. I've made the decision. This just isn't quite right. I've got to restart a little bit. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to give myself, I decided today, I'm going to give myself tomorrow just to not worry about it. I'm going to sit, I'm going to relax. Maybe I'll be out in nature. Maybe I'll go for a walk. I'll do some fun things for me, whatever the case is. But on Friday, that's when we go. That's restart day. And mark that in your calendar. Put it on your vision board, your battle boards, an app on your phone, whatever you're using. Put that in there. Build in that exit strategy out of this kind of, again, grieving period, because it's natural to feel disappointed and maybe sad or upset about not being able to make the progress maybe you thought you would. But again, we can't dwell on things too much, because the more we do, it turns into maybe days, weeks, months. And then again, we've got a big hole to come out of, a big hill to climb to get back on track. So put some of this into your strategy. If you've decided and you've done the thinking, think, yep, a restart is needed, then do the work to put in that strategy. I'm going to give myself a day or two, whatever you think. And then day 3 or whatever, by this date, I'm back on track. Here's what I'm going to do to move forward. Here's the adjustments I've made. And grab your plan that you've hopefully had, again, since October. If you have a 42-page plan, bring it out. Work through it. Tweak it. Make those notes. Get rid of the pages that don't work anymore. Keep the ones that do. And then put in an exit strategy. And on that day, set yourself up for as much success as you can. Get ready the night before, the morning of, whatever you can do, put things in place, fill water bottles, get journals ready, put reminders on phones, post-it notes around your house, wear your gym clothes to bed, whatever you need to do, get everything ready. So again, on that day, you hit the ground running. Tell your accountability partners, tell your coaches, so that again, everyone can pop in and give you that little push to say, here we go, we're with you, let's get going on this. And then we don't lose that momentum, and hopefully don't build that negative momentum that we have to overcome. That can be, for a lot of us, insurmountable. We get a little bit of negative momentum, that snowball rolling back at us. It's harder to stop that and get it pushing the other way again. It just kind of buries us in that, sorry to swear, that snow from the snowball, and then we're stuck there, trapped. But we need to keep that momentum going the other way, keep that ball rolling the other way so it keeps rolling. Maybe it slows down a little bit, but we want to be in a good position to give it a shove when we're ready to go to get that momentum going. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, K-Man, right? You have a little rough. K-Man says, my teams have been in the rebuild for a total of 110 years combined. So true. You've got rough luck with your teams. But again, in and out of rebuilds, maybe a good year. They think, oh, this is the great year. And if someone gets hurt or something goes wrong, okay, let's blow it up. Let's start again. It's a big part of the sport. If you're a sports fan, you've been through it. If you're a Raptors fan, we're kind of going through this now. Again, kind of rebuilding, retweaking. Where are we going? What's the direction? Okay, let's try these guys. Let's move around. We just 5 years ago won a title. So again, it's part of life. It's part of the way things go. We start new jobs sometimes. We move cities. We change schools as we grew up and went through the different levels. There's restarts and rechanges. We went from maybe being the kind of most senior person at our school, moving up a grade to the junior high, being maybe at the bottom of the totem pole again. And we don't have that seniority or that rank that we once had. Again, it's part of life. Restarts happen. We have to kind of deal with them. And you've been through them before, just in kind of those examples that we've shared. So again, draw from that. Look from those experiences, and how did you deal with changing schools or changing careers or moving across the country or going away overseas to work for a few months? So how did you manage that? How did you deal with that? How did you go through that restart and come out stronger on the other side, which you all have, because we've all been through different things and we're here right now. So again, use that experience that you already have and we'll think of you, K-Man, tonight with your 110 years of rebuilds. Just popping in here quick. Jur, welcome in as well. And Natty, good to see you. Welcome in, everybody. Again, as always, if you're here with us live or recording, we always appreciate you tuning in. So please say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from, whether you're live or recording. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, please feel free to let us know. We can tackle it on a future episode. And please share this if you have friends that you know would benefit from some of this talk and this coaching and this guidance of trying to make themselves operationally fit. Then please feel free to share that so we can grow this community, but also help each other grow within that community as well. So again, rebuilds, restarts. Today is National Restart Day for those just tuning in. That's why we're kind of talking about it. But again, Chris may not agree with this, but in theory, the rebuilds should have a plan. Even our team analogy, for rebuilding the team, there should be a bit of a plan. Okay, let's get rid of these. Usually let's get rid of the veterans, the older players that maybe we don't need or aren't getting as much from anymore. Or in whatever, 5 to 6 years when this rebuild's done, they won't be contributing. It's not going to be fair to them. Let's move them. Let's bring in youth and let the youth kind of grow through and develop. And hopefully they develop, they grow chemistry and cohesion so that when they're in 5 or 6 years from now, they're at that top level competing for championships and things like that. But as I mentioned, sometimes they'll get a few years in and things aren't working. Maybe, again, maybe a big player gets injured. Maybe someone who had a lot of potential didn't live up to it. Maybe the chemistry just wasn't there. And how many of us on sports teams have seen people traded away from our teams and they're not performing and they flourish in these other places? Sometimes we just need to make little changes to make a big difference for us. So maybe that's where you can revisit too. Maybe that's your restart. Maybe you look at your home office area. Maybe look at your workspace at your office at work. Is it neat? Is it cluttered? Is it organized? Is it where you need it to be? Have you been facing the same wall for 10 years? Maybe it's time to move the desk over here or to that side. Or can you get the window, a little bit of a window spot, or get some sunlight in? Can you maybe move some posters around? Can you change your filing system to have things maybe a little more accessible? Can you look at some of your routines? Again, maybe just a little change in scenery, a change in pace can be a nice restart for you too. Sure, like our comment of wearing your gym clothes to bed. Again, getting up the next day, they're right there for you're in them already. Especially if you're working at home, you can just run right down to the basement, to the home gym, get the workout in, get going. Even going to a gym, you can pop in the car, head over, get your workout, and you're ready to go. It's one less obstacle in your way of kind of talking yourself out of it. Maybe that's your change of environment. Maybe you change from a gym to a home workout or vice versa. Maybe you change gyms. Maybe that little change in pace and being in a different environment with some maybe different people who are maybe more like you, or you relate to them a little bit more. Maybe that motivates you and you feel a little more inspired, or kind of like you fit in a little better. It's more your crowd, so you're more comfortable to go there. That's why there's so many gyms around, because there's something for everyone. There's not just one gym where everyone goes and it's the same thing. Some are high end, some are budget, some are boutiques, and they just offer a certain kind of training or classes. Some offer a little bit of everything. And it depends what you want and what you need and what works best for you. Maybe that's your restart. Maybe your restart is thinking of your circle of 5. Because as we've said before here, and you'll hear elsewhere, you're the sum of the 5 people that are in your circle, that are in your life. Maybe it's time to do a little audit. Maybe it's time to move 1 or 2 of those people around. Because we all evolve and adapt and change and grow. Maybe these 2 are just in a different place now than they were before. And maybe there's someone else that is just a better fit. It's not that these people maybe are bad or wrong to be around. We have to cut them off altogether. But maybe we just change who we're around the most, or in certain situations to help us grow and develop and again, progress towards that goal. So try to think of a restart of not just, I failed, let's start again, but there could be many different facets to this. Maybe a restart is looking for a coach. Maybe you've gotten so far on your own, but maybe a coach would be the next step of a restart to, again, look at what you've been doing, where you want to go, and identify some of these maybe obstacles and roadblocks that keep coming up for you. Or maybe they can look at your plan and say, you picked this route and there's nothing wrong with that route, but if we went this way, it's a much smoother ride. It's a wide open kind of area. Maybe it's a little quicker for you to get there because it's more of an efficient path than this way, because ideally your coach has been through that journey themselves. So if that's something that interests you and you're looking for that next step, please feel free to reach out. Same thing with nutrition. Maybe you need a nutrition coach to help guide you through some of these meal choices or eating styles, or find out if you have sensitivities to different foods or allergies or things that you can kind of work through. Again, maybe you need to build up that team, like we like to say. Again, for those of you who haven't been here, I had a client who one day we were just kind of joking around of, oh, it would be so nice. Like Usain Bolt has his team everywhere with him, his physio and chiro and his cooks and this and that. And I kind of thought of it like we deserve our own team too, and we should build that. Now, admittedly, they won't maybe travel around with us and be at our beck and call, like maybe some of these other athletes and higher celebrities and things have. But we should have a health team. We should have a support system around us, people we know, like, and trust with our health, with ourselves. Physios, chiropractors, massage therapists, or where you get your orthotics, nutritionists, counselors, whatever the case is. We should have a team around us to help provide us with the service and the assistance that we need. Maybe that's your restart. Maybe you need to look at your team. Do I have all the things I need? I used to have a chiropractor, but they moved and I don't have one now. I'm not sure where to go. And I'm not feeling as good as I used to. Maybe it's time to find a new chiropractor. Maybe it's time to go to a new physio. Maybe it's time to go to a stylist. Whatever works for you. Maybe you need to go somewhere else to get your hair cut because you're maybe just not happy with that team. Again, look in different areas of your environment. And that's what I wanted to say about not being too rash with your decision earlier in your restart. Really look into things. And maybe instead of a big overall restart of, nope, that's it, that didn't work, let's restart. Maybe you can just look over here and say, you know what, this section isn't working. 95% of what I have is, but this 5% just isn't going quite right. What's going on? What can I do there? Am I missing something? Can I replace something? How can I make the restart happen there so that 100%, ideally or hopefully, is firing on all cylinders for me? And again, that gets that momentum going towards that goal at a good speed and a good pace. So if you feel like you're sticking and you're stuck and things just really aren't working, it's maybe more than just kind of a simple, not really simple, but an everyday sort of obstacle, or some of those little roadblocks of like, I don't feel like going to the gym today and things like that, that again, come up when we need to work through. But if it's something a little more serious or something maybe you can't identify or just quickly, again, take the time, deep dive into it. Use the time to revisit your notes, your apps, whatever you're using to track your progress, and look, see where things, again, went off the rails, or where things slowed down, where your progress really seemed to slow down. Maybe you went backwards a little bit. And then try to find the root of that, and then maybe that's your restart. Again, hopefully it's just something out on the outer realm, one of those few little spots. You tweak this, maybe do a little restart here, and then overall we go. But in some instances, it's got to be a whole new, as they say in the sports analogy, we blow up the team and we start again. Okay, maybe you got to crumple that plan up. Don't crumple it up really, because we can still learn from it. But in theory, crumple it up and start again. But again, use it to refer to say, okay, this didn't work. This was good. I derailed here. What can I do to make sure that that doesn't happen this time, so I can get further along in my progress and build more momentum toward my goal? And again, if you've been with us, we set things or started the process. We didn't set them right away, but we started the process in October to build the framework, to get the ball rolling, to get ideas out there so we could create strategies and theme words and plan Bs, contingency plans, and all these things so that when January 1st, we could hit the ground running. But again, if we're going back to the language, a new year resolution or a new year goal. It's a 2024 goal that we set. It wasn't a January till June goal or a February goal. We have 6 months still plus, because we're just early June. We have lots of time to, again, work towards that and build towards that goal. So don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Again, if you need to restart, small or big, take the time, grieve it a bit, process it a bit, but think of that exit strategy, plan it, give yourself a day or two. You know you and what you need to kind of maybe get over some of these things and deal with them. Try to pick the best strategies you can for dealing with them. Give yourself that time, pick an exit date out of your kind of grief processing period, and then put the steps in place to hit the ground running. Hopefully that's kind of part of your grief process of being, again, maybe a little down or disappointed that things aren't working the way you had hoped. But your way through that a bit is, again, getting your pen, the paper, your keyboard out, whatever it is, and starting to tweak and adjust and work towards that new goal, that next step, that version 2.0 of your plan and your goal that you set up back again in October or whenever. Some of you, again, maybe are just joining us and you're just setting goals now and starting. That's okay. These will be things to watch out for as you go along in your journey. But use the planning process as a bit of a way to manage that grief and that disappointment. Maybe, I'm sad I didn't do this. This didn't work for me, but what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen the next time? I can set up childcare. I can change my training times. I can find a new gym to go to that matches, that's on my way to work. Whatever the case may be, put those things in place, lay out that plan, reset it, version 2.0, and then again, on your exit day, your restart day, you're ready to go. So while today is National Restart Day, and to be honest, I didn't even look up what they define it as of June 5th, why June 5th is Restart Day. I saw it in the calendar of monthly events and thought, that's a great reminder to us that it's okay to restart. It happens all the time. Again, we've gave examples of us all going through them probably throughout our lives. Now let's take the time to be calculated with it, not be too rash in our decisions, and plan ways out of it, and really define that restart day, whenever that is for you. Maybe today is the day you realize that, yes, I need that restart. Maybe, again, you need to find where it is, what part of your life. Maybe it's minimal, maybe it's a big thing. Find it, reset it, process it, get ready to come out of it, pick a date, and that's your restart date. And we go forward from there. We try to keep the momentum going forward as best we can, that positive momentum. So that, again, we're not trying to dig ourselves out of too big of a hole because we've done this restart and this reset. Maybe some of the good habits you've picked up so far, we can maintain those and then add them into the strategy going forward, or ramp them up when we get really back into kind of our goal setting and our plan 2.0 full throttle. We can really pick up the intensity on those. Well, let's try again to keep that momentum going forward. Don't be so hard on yourself. Restarts happen. We've talked about this. They're going to happen again. Go through it, learn from it. So again, the next time is easier, and the next time is easier from that. And take the experience you've gained so far. Like I said earlier, don't actually crumple up your plan. But in theory, if you're going to blow it up, do that and start over. But keep it there so you can learn from it. You can grow from it. You can celebrate yourself for how far you have come with this plan so far. You've been, again, a month, 6 months, maybe 8 months, 9 months. You've been with us since October that we've been working on this. Look how far you've come since then. Even if it's been a week or a couple of days, look how far you've come. Celebrate that, acknowledge that, give yourself that pat on your back for a job well done. Build up that confidence and self-esteem, and again, bank that so you have that experience to draw from on this 2.0 version of your goal. You can do it. You've done it so far. You've done it multiple times. Now maybe we can put a little plan to it, learn from it, maybe make a conscious effort to get better at it, and again, learn from it. Because again, maybe before, like the school example and the moving and jobs, maybe we weren't too conscious about it because it was just a way of life. You change schools, you graduate from this one to that one, you go on to university, college, a trade, whatever the case. There's different steps we take that we kind of just go through and deal with. But now we can be really purposeful with this and bring this in and put it into paper or into a plan, a process. But hey, I've done this before. I have experience. Experience gives confidence. When I used to work for the military as a civilian fitness instructor, we would do fitness testing. And some of the research they showed us is that if you came in with us and did a test for the first time ever, and then you came in a couple of days later and did the test again, just doing the test once, you would improve in a lot of categories because you had the experience. You knew what to expect. We have experience. We know what to expect in certain areas. So as much as we can, let's plan for that. Let's prep for that. Let's use that to our knowledge to build ourselves up, to build us a plan, to give us that momentum to go forward. And then we can really get working toward that. We're about halfway through the year almost. We hit that downhill slope into the last half of the year to get towards that third and fourth quarter to really get that momentum. So again, December 31st, we're kicking in the door to 2025 and saying, we're here, we did it, we reached our goal, we accomplished it, we improved so much, and now we're ready to tackle 2025. I hope 2025 is ready for us. But again, we've got 6 months still to work through that. So you've got time. Do what you need to do what works best for you. That's right now, a little POYB, a little pat on your back. I like to get them in there where I can. A little selfless plug. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments and the chats. Again, if you're live or on recording, have you had a restart recently? Have you noticed maybe today and us talking about it, has that triggered maybe I should visit this. Maybe I need to restart a couple spots. Maybe I need to retweak a little bit. I'd love to hear from you if you've identified those and worked through them. What helped you work through them? What helped you restart after them? What got you going? What helped you make sure that you didn't fall, too far behind the 8 ball in terms of negative momentum and maybe that self-talk and things like that? How did you get through them? How did you work through them? What did you learn from it to be able to apply to the next restart that might come up? And if you don't have any, again, great for you. Keep in mind, they'll probably come up eventually. Hopefully not, but it could happen. Be ready for it. Maybe put some time in, prepare for it. Even just reflect, again, on those past experiences of when there was a restart for you. What did you do to get through it? How did you manage it? What worked, what didn't? Maybe what could you have done more efficiently to, again, prepare for the next one. And then the idea being it won't have the huge impact on you that maybe this one did or a previous one did, because again, we're prepared for it as best we can be. And that's all we can do. Be the best we can be as prepared as we can, control our controllables, and do our best to work towards being operationally fit every single day. Thanks, Bonnie. Appreciate it. Have a good evening as well. And give yourself a pat on the back. Everyone, give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. That's it for tonight, gang. Thanks so much for being here. Again, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. It's nice and warm out there and in here. So stay hydrated, get your rest. Again, look for shade, different things to tweak those workouts where you need to. Stay safe, everybody. Again, restarts, okay. If you need to do them, do them. Don't be rash about it, though. Take the time to go through the process, and we'd love to hear from you here if you have any questions, comments, or if you're comfortable to share your restarts with us. So again, we can all grow and get better together. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, and remember, always make yourself the priority that you deserve to be by striving to be operationally fit. Stay safe. Take care. We'll see you next week.